your experience of cooperation, or maybe what are your expectations about cooperation. And here we have also Olga Khomenko, but she's switched off the camera because now in Ukraine we don't have electricity from time to time, so it's difficult to catch internet. So let me start from Bogdan. Bogdan, can you tell us, please, a little bit about your community, and maybe as a mayor, because Bogdan is a very known mayor in Ukraine, because he is very known not because of his amazing work in and social activities, but he is very known because his business card is sausage. Yeah. So we hope to see our partner cities soon, and you will get this very delicious business card.
Thank you, Maria, for such a great introduction. I also think that our municipality is known because Maria herself visited it once or twice, maybe even 3 times. So my name is Bogdan. I'm a mayor of Kopytchintsi. This is the amalgamated municipality with population of about 15,000 people. We're located in the western part of Ukraine, in Ternopil region, far from the front lines. But our region is one of the weakest in terms of blackouts. So we suffering from severe blackouts, actually. So if we're lucky, then we have 3 hours of electricity, and then 6 next hours we don't have electricity. So trying to keep our services running, everything is power generated. We're trying to be creative, to be modern, to use the technology, so our schools can operate, our kindergartens work, our community centers, our hospital, which is really important, could be operating. So that's the everyday challenge that we're dealing with now. But since the Russian aggression started, we also decided that we're not only trying to help our soldiers, not only to not only sending our people to the front lines, and not only receiving internally displaced people instead and trying to accommodate them. We also try to achieve some development of our municipality. I would like to think that Putin chose the wrong time for attacking Ukraine, because we are here and our mayors are here and our staff, city hall staff is here. Also, we are proud to be a sister city with the city of Hör, near Lund in Sweden. And I'm glad that Johan, the mayor, is connected here as well. Maria made a great contact probably. And we are trying to focus on cooperation around garbage collection and waste management. Maybe Johan will be able to talk a little bit more about that, like how it looks from their side. But we are really we're really thankful that we had an opportunity, also due to ICLD, to visit here, to bring our crew, to meet a lot of people that are cheering up for us and really helping us a lot to move through these difficult times.
Dear Johan, are you available? Yes. Super good. Thank you so much for supporting Ukraine, and thank you so much for hosting our team. Consists of Bogdan, Olga, deputy of Kopytchintsi community, Maria, who is representing NGO sector. So can you tell us a little bit about your vision, how you start cooperation with Kopytchintsi, and what motivates you to start cooperation?
Thank you. Well, Bogdan sent a request over the internet to his friends, reaching out to see if anybody wanted to start a cooperation. And we have a mutual friend who directed me to Bogdan, and that's how it started. And then things went along pretty fast from there. And in connection with an ICLD event in Izmir, Bogdan and his team made it up to Sweden, and we could officially sign our Twin City agreement. And Bogdan and his team got a possibility to view several of our community services, which included our water waste plant and retirement home and some of our tourist destinations that are located in the city. And since then, we've been talking or writing almost every week, back and forth a little bit. And Bogdan also sent out a request how we could manage to help with their waste management. And luckily, we had a sponsor, so we've found a garbage truck that we're going to send down to Kopytchintsi here as soon as I get all the papers right, and hopefully it will be there during the next month. But also it will be quite interesting. We're thinking of perhaps arranging so we could discuss a little bit of how the war affects Kopytchintsi in terms of their crisis management, because that's an area in Sweden that we are far behind, and we really need to step up our game.
Dear Johan, I have one more question. Do you think we have some knowledge which we can share? Because you know, we have been to the war since 2014, and we have this war experience already. And maybe this experience will be useful for your defense system on municipal level. Maybe can you tell us? Did you start to prepare, for example, schools with basement, as did Bogdan in his schools in Kopytchintsi, or what was useful from these negotiations, from this knowledge? Maybe you got new knowledge, maybe new skills. What can be useful for another communities who want to cooperate, for example, from Swedish side?
Well, in Sweden, we have had peace for over 200 years, and everybody thinks that war will never come. And basically, for the last 30 years, we've been planning for a world without war in Sweden. So it's very hard to start planning for that the war could come to Sweden. And basically, nobody knows what will happen, and the municipality haven't planned for anything for a long time. So taking Bogdan experiences with the community of Kopytchintsi can make us better into planning for the scenario in which a war will come to Sweden.
Mm-hmm. Of course, we wish all our partners and our friend countries to be in peace. Of course, it's so important. And I see that Mariia joined our conversation. Thank you so much, Mariia. What plans do you have for this year? Maybe you can share some plans. What do you plan to do together? Maybe it's question to Bogdan and Mariia and Johan at the same time. Maybe first we'll start Bogdan and Mariia, and Johan, you will continue.
Yeah, who's this? Me? Okay. With this background, it's hard, like we are in the clouds. But yeah, so we are trying to think about this garbage system collection. So with the garbage truck, if it arrives here, we would really start sorting out most of our trash in our municipality. We already started procurement process of the trash bins, and we also made like a deal with the company, with the private company that is located 20 kilometers from us, that they would be also, like, they would be taking our garbage and they will be recycling it and redoing some stuff out of it. So I think this would be a really first important step, and it's like really like a tangible result, because all members of our community will see the significant improvement of the quality of life, because we want our municipality also to grow and to become better, so people don't even like if so people first of all they don't leave, so we try to get as many internally displaced people as possible to stay here with us, not to move abroad, but also those who left so they don't come back.
Yeah, and that's the second part. I think another focus is employment services for both community members and internally displaced persons. So we're actually in the middle of renovating one of the spaces for a co-working hub. This co-working hub will serve as a space for both internally displaced as well as local community members to come and use computers to be able to, you know, find jobs, search for jobs, network with other individuals. As well, we want to provide employment services, trainings on how to look for jobs, where to look for jobs. We want to also partner with potential organizations that could help us with these trainings to really focus on matching everybody to, you know, potential work in the municipality, so that municipality can benefit from this and grow.
Yeah, and I also would like to add it, like our maybe midterm strategy is that we started relocating some of the businesses to our municipality from the affected area, and now we have almost fully established and registered in Kopytchintsi one of the biggest school furniture factories that is located now in our municipality. And we were thinking if we have this experience already, maybe our partner cities, maybe their businesses would like to get along and maybe also help us develop our resiliency in local economic development. So more people can stay, more people can work here locally. And maybe this could be some field of interest from our Swedish side, besides experience exchange, besides culture exchange, besides just hanging out and having great time together, because we really appreciate all the kindness and the partnership with Johan and his team.
Thank you so much. Johan, can you tell us about resources? Where do you find resources for this cooperation? And do you have support of your community, of citizens of your community, support politically, they support resources, or and how it looks like this support from citizens? Do you receive some messages from them, and how the situation looks like in your community regarding the situation in Ukraine?
Well, I believe there's a broad support for Ukraine's cause within the municipality. And when Bogdan and his team were here, we also set up so they could meet some local business people and some local charities. So we could spread that our two cities actually cooperate, because it can't be based on that me and Bogdan have a nice time meeting and talking, but we have to spread it throughout the community so that the people accept and they stand behind this initiative.
It's very important to have such support from local businesses and citizens also. And do you host Ukrainians in your community?
Yes, we do. And also Bogdan and Mariia and Olga, they got to meet some of those people that have come to her. And I believe there are around 40 people, including children, at this moment, and almost half of the 40 are children that goes to our schools.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for this huge support and for your energy and for your time. And we hope, all of us Ukrainians, we hope that we will continue our cooperation, and we also have what to share with Swedish communities. And now I want to ask Kristina Levitska and Maxim, can you tell us about your community? And in both these communities, I'm leader of organization Porch. We create classes of peace. And so these communities, like communities from different cohorts of the project, but they both have schools of peace. And in these schools, we teach non-violence communication, mediation, transformation of conflict. Christina, can you tell us about your community and how you start cooperation with Swedish communities?
Thank you very much. Hello to everyone. I want to represent my city. I can't say it's community because it's a rather big city. We have 100,000 population and we are a very famous touristic city. We have about 200 monuments, culture and architecture monuments. That's why we have third place for tourist visits after Kiev and Lviv. And I want to add that everything of this was before the war, but now we are a city who accepts about 24,000 of IDP people. So you can imagine that one third part of our population now is IDP persons. So that is why we try to work with all our partners and especially with our Swedish partners. We have two Swedish cities, our partner cities. It's Mariestad and Herrljunga in Sweden. They are rather old, our partners. For example, with Herrljunga, we made an agreement of cooperation in 2008. And in Mariestad, we made this agreement in 2018. We had a big project with Herrljunga. They helped us to create a family center in our perinatal center. And now we want to review this project and to create a new project with something like family center, but it will be aimed to support IDP women who are pregnant or who gave birth of child here in their new home. So that's a big project, and now we're working for it with Herrljunga together. And another our representative of our partnerships is Mariestad. It's in the I think north part or west part of Sweden. And about a month ago, we had a visit to Mariestad. And we also have one project. It's a triple project with another city from Lithuania, Ukmergė. And it's called Sustainability Development of our 3 municipalities. This project is conducted for 3 years, and we shared after experience, and we have visited, especially before the war, to each community how to provide a lot of initiatives to each other's community. Because we have a great example in tourist initiatives, and for example, Mariestad has good examples of using of technologies of electricity efficiency initiatives, and Ukmergė has a lot of initiatives in sustainability. That's why we work together. Also, we try to accumulate all our efforts how to spread information among our partners in these municipalities, because people, just citizens here in Mariestad, in Herrljunga, they are not very known about the real war in Ukraine, or they get used to information about war. That's why we pay all our attention how to support the informational front, we called it, how to spread the information, how to call people to donate to Ukrainian people, how make them more kind to Ukrainians who are in Sweden, and pay attention to Ukrainians who are now in Ukraine, but from east part of Ukraine came to our west part of Ukraine. So we work together in these directions. Also, now we have one call from Sweden. It's from one city with a very hard pronounceable name, Papio, something like this. And also they invite us to be their partner cities. And now we sometimes some Zoom sales conference, how to make this agreement and to start with our first Swedish partner.
Oh, it's super good that we have such cooperation with different cities. And do you plan to apply for some grant programs? Because I know that, for example, Swedish Institute have call, or different donors for some social projects. Do you have plans to apply together with these municipalities?
Yes, now we're talking with Mariia and with Khmelnytsk. With Khmelnytsk, we want to apply about with family center, how to increase the spheres of this family center. And with Mariia today, before this meeting, we had another meeting, and we want to spread and to do something like school exchange project. We want to get together our old, elder
Pupils. Yeah.
pupils, from schools to schools of Mariia, and we want to make them, for example, a common project for dedicated to Agenda 2030.
Oh, it's a super amazing idea, and I also have negotiations with the executive mayor of Malmö. And we want to create bridges between our schools of peace and these Malmö schools. So I hope next week I will inform you because you have these schools of peace in your communities, and hope we will hold these bridges. These bridges will be first digital, but we can apply together for some granting support and to organize children camps, for example, in Sweden, because after the war, of course, we will invite children and teachers, schools to Ukraine, but now we can bring our children and share this knowledge and about nonviolence communication, anti-bullying programs, which we implement in our communities. Thank you so much. And we have Victoria Primak from Nekhvorosha, Poltava region. This is community also taking part in our program, human rights-based approach program, and they develop change project on youth policy. So they try to involve all community, to especially young people, to decision making, and especially their focus how to organize economically support to young people. Victoria, can you hello? So can you present your community shortly? And this is community who was transferred community for people who travel from Kharkiv through their community out of these hot points. Victoria, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mariia. I'm very sorry because you can't see me right now, because I'm in fields, so the connection isn't very strong. And unfortunately, Olga could not join us because of the blackout, which happened right before, right before this training. But I'm very happy to see and hear all of you guys. Miss you much. As for your community, thank you very much for this very important point that you mentioned. That this it was a very important point on the way of evacuation route through eastern part of Ukraine to more peaceful, so to say, to more safe places in our country. That's why we dealt with internally displaced people or refugees, as one might say, sorry. Well, what can I say about this community? It is a very typical Ukrainian village community, but with untypical touch, because what we tend to do is to make the most of decentralization processes, but to add up as much as we can and to save sometimes as many workplaces and as many people as we can, not physically, of course, we're not gods, but I mean in terms of way of life, to create great places to improve all the services that we can do and to preserve workplaces. For example, as you have seen, being in our community, we are trying to make healthcare services present in the community, because this is not the way the government sees it. They say that we have to centralize these processes, and we can't have doctors for all those people in the villages because there are not enough patients to have. But as we have already created those services, as we have already had those doctors for ages, we can't just cut off our citizens from the services that are already there. That is number one. Number two is, of course, it is an agricultural place, and that's why the agriculture sector is very important. It's great, and that's why we want to not to support, because it's business. You can't support business as a government, but to create opportunities for those businesses to expand, so to say, expand its horizons, first of all, to exchange their experience, and maybe to involve some other people into this sector. And of course, youth. That is priority number one, and that's why we want to preserve as many services as we can in the community. And that's why we are trying to involve and engage as many of our children and our young people as we can into decision-making processes as well. That's briefly.
Thank you so much for sharing this information about your community. And Victoria, how do you think how Swedish municipalities can help Nekhvorosha community?
Just a moment. I think I lost you for some minutes.
Sorry, maybe. Victoria, how do you think how Swedish communities can help Nekhvorosha community? Recently, I visited this amazing community, and you know, people from big cities don't want to go to villages, but this is so developed village, because you have amazing hospital, and this community hosted entirely displaced people, especially from my south of Ukraine, from Kherson. Thank you so much. It's very appreciating for this. And this is professionals. So you hosted dentists, you have a new cabinet, you have new equipment in this village. So and it's a very contemporary and developing community with own resources, and with developed energy efficiency. So you created so many. So how do you think Swedish municipalities can contribute to the development of Nekhvorosha?
Although, thank you, Mariia, for mentioning all those points that you've just said. Although you have said that we have quite a lot of equipment, for example, in the ambulance, what we actually have is a great building, a modern, energy efficient building, but actually we lack those modern equipment. We have specialists, we have great hospital, but we lack the medical equipment. So we would appreciate to get some kind of hard component, you know, in terms of any tools and equipment that maybe you can or Swedish municipalities can provide to our municipality. That would be very much appreciated. You have also seen the school, which is let's be honest, not that bad, right? Not that bad.
Amazing school, but first school which I saw without shelter, bomb shelter, but it's created on the basement. So it's very interesting how you save our children, and it's so important.
Yeah, but those shelters that are not underneath earth, they were also created with the help of service. What do you call that? Emergency services. So we have consulted to the specialists, and we did not invent that thing. So it is actually quite safe. And thank God, being quite far away from firing, from the war, we're quite safe there in that part. But our school is quite modern, it's quite good, and we're making the best of what we have. But again, we would appreciate to maybe get some multimedia equipment for classes that might help to give more qualified services for children in our community. And you know that the children in the school, they're not only children from Nekhvorosha community, they're also children from neighboring communities and neighboring oblast, from Dnipro Oblast. So children from another oblast, another region, come to learn at our school. And of course, there are children of internally displaced people, which is very important to make them integrate into the community life. That's number two. And we also have some agrarians. They want to have more opportunity for communication and development, any kind.
Thank you so much. And it's very interesting community with interesting history, and you know, with common history with for our Swedish partners. So we have common history because we joined with Karl XII to fight against Russian Empire with our Hetman Mazepa.
We were so close, so close.
So we have common history.
Yes.
And thank you, Victoria. And I want to ask Bogdan, because since the full invasion start, Bogdan and Mariia hosted a volunteer with whom we cooperate during long time from US. And now I know, Bogdan, that you have a volunteer in your community who stay in your community for a while to help internally displaced people. So how you did it, and maybe it's very good experience for Swedish municipalities, for Swedish representatives here who want to help somehow, and maybe you would like to come as volunteer to our communities, because it's very interesting experience. Bogdan, can you share your experience with volunteers in your community?
Sure, Mariia. Thanks for the question. And yeah, we had experience with volunteers even before the war started, but now I could describe like what is happening now, because now everybody is kind of having security concerns about coming and visiting Ukraine. But here where we're located, and also Kamianets Podilskyi, our municipalities are located in relatively safer region, like since our municipality is smaller, our city is smaller, it's rarely the target for Russian aggressions. And we have cooperation with the city of Bozeman in Montana, US. So they came, the 7 volunteers came this summer and last summer, and they visited us for 2 weeks. Then after that, 2 more came in autumn, and then one guy who came in summer, he made his mind to come again and stay here in Kopytchintsi. So he went back to Bozeman, he finished all his stuff, he finished his work and his studies, and now it's already 2 weeks since he is here and he took a one-way ticket. He's an architect, he has masters in architecture, and he is helping us to help our hospital building look better and be better. And also he is jumping into this project that we already working with of renovating of some abandoned houses, private houses that where internally displaced people can live. So trying to get away from collective centers, from shelters, and we want to integrate our newcomers so they can live like normal people living here.
Yeah, and I just want to add in terms of how we get volunteers to come here, right? We try to match them with their interests or with their professions. So for example, in the fall, we had Kathy, who came from Bozeman, Montana as well. And she works for an ambulance in the US. And at the same time, while she was here, the 3 weeks, she was working for our ambulance in Kopytchintsi. At the same time, you know, a student of architect who finished his master's degree, who was already working, he's now interested in developing the country and rebuilding Ukraine, rebuilding the country. And he sees the potential that he will have, the amount of work that Ukraine will need to do in this field. And so this field is interested for him to come and, you know, maybe not the whole time he will be in Kopytchintsi, but later on he will move maybe to some other city, maybe even to the capital. But we try to match with their interests, with what they feel before they come, how they can contribute to our community.
Yeah, and yeah, that's true. We are also Mariia, you know, the Albert, right? Like American volunteer who came through your organization. So even when they come for a shorter period of time, we try to make their experience here memorable. So even Albert, student from North Carolina, or where he was from, yeah, we actually suggested him to help us apply for some mini grant and from German Marshall Fund, and he did some. He influenced a little bit of our writing, and now this grant, like, we got the confirmation, and we texted him back like, hey, you see, like, your time here was not just wasted. Of course you had a nice time with us, but you also have some remarkable results here. And now we also have one volunteer who is a painter, and it's also like a short period of time that she is staying here, but we also encouraged her to paint a wall of the co-working that Mariia mentioned before. So she is now thinking about some what would be the design of that wall, and then, like, you know, when she leaves our community, some things, that some tangible things that she left here will be staying with us for a longer period of time. So this is how we try to express our welcoming spirit for all the volunteers, all the international people that want to contribute to Ukraine's success, to help us rebuild Ukraine, to help us grow Ukraine, and just to have some meaningful time here with us. We are really, really welcoming everybody to join us.
Thank you so much for sharing this experience, because we are ready to be cultural diplomats in our country and outside of our country, to share our culture, our gastronomy, culture, and so on. So if you have maybe volunteers or youth councils or volunteers who want to come to Ukraine, we will share all our contacts of our municipalities who is here, and you are very, very welcome. And at last several minutes, we have Maria Gustafsson. Maria, will you join us for conversation?
Yes, I'm here. Oh, sorry, I don't have a video. Maybe I can start it. So, okay.
Thank you
I'm
so
in my
much.
kitchen.
Thank you so much for cooperation. First question, have you been to Kamianets Podilskyi?
No, I haven't. I would really love to go there, and I will do that the first time after the war, when it's
Yes.
has ended. Yes.
Yes, okay, so it's very, very important because we would like to show you our amazing city and with amazing infrastructure and the historical places, of course. Mariia, what motivates you to cooperate with our Khmelnytsk region city?
Oh, I think it gives us a lot of important things. We can work with the school, with the school exchange that Christina told you about. And we also can work with democracy. It gives a lot to our municipality as well. And it gives us a lot of new friends also. That's also important.
Thank you so much. And we develop different democratic instruments in Ukraine. And soon you will see, because during 2 years, my organization implements school participatory budgeting in Ukraine. So we will soon cover also our communities from Khmelnytsk region, from Ternopil region, and from Poltava region. Now it's pilot project, but it's a successful project, and it's already have continuation. So you will see our new democratic instruments, and of course you are very, very welcome to Ukraine. And last question to you, how do you see perspective, how we can contribute to development of your communities? Do you see that we can do something for maybe sharing knowledge, our experience? What do you think about this?
I think Christina and Maxim, they share their knowledge about how to act and work in a municipality that is in war, that have to take care of a lot of refugees. We learn a lot of them with that. And also the work as you describe now with the schools, I think we have a lot to learn there as well. So yes, we learn a lot of things.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for connection, and we hope to continue our cooperation. And we have to finish our session, unfortunately, but our conclusions, we have a lot of directions of work. We can contribute to Swedish communities, and we want to contribute to Swedish communities with our experience, our knowledge. And of course, thank you so much for supporting Ukraine. And we have several directions. It's also hospitals, it's volunteer work, it's democratical instruments, and there's a child protection. So we have different vectors of our work, and as Nekhvorosha told, the economical development. So we hope we will find new partners, or we will strengthening our relationship with partners whom we have now, and we have bright future. Thank you so much, and